These people are not powerful. Satan can't create anything. That includes blessings for his people. That's why, you know what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job.
In all his time in comedy, Katt Williams kept saying something felt off about Kevin Hart's come up. He claimed nobody really remembers Kevin putting in those long, rough years like most comics do. No endless tiny gigs, no slow grind, no stories about barely getting by before blowing up. Katt made it sound like Kevin popped up in Los Angeles and boom, big deals were already waiting. We're talking a sitcom, a movie, huge shots most comedians chase for decades. To Katt, that didn't look natural at all. He suggested it felt mapped out, almost like doors were opening a little too fast, like something behind the scenes was already in motion. Katt leaned into this idea that Hollywood doesn't always reward the grind the way people think. He hinted that some stars get picked early, placed in the spotlight, and backed by powerful names pulling strings behind closed doors. Once they're in that lane, they just follow the track laid out for them. And to him, Kevin's early story just didn't fully line up. He said, Kevin talked about building his comedy roots on the East Coast, but at the same time, he was suddenly thriving in Los Angeles with big industry support. What Katt is really getting at is this. He believes the same circle of people keep handing opportunities to each other again and again. The same names, the same connections, opening doors while everyone else is stuck knocking. He described it like a private club, locked tight. You're either inside with access or you're left outside watching it all happen. And if you're not willing to follow certain unspoken rules, Katt says you don't get in at all. That's where his talk about selling your soul came from.
Had people throw millions of dollars in my face to do something I didn't want to do. And what? Just, you've been offered, yeah. Oh, they're in the room.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah.
That was my way of cueing you. Like, it's open dialogue.
Yeah, you want me to keep talking about it?
By all means, we can talk about anything, but
don't do it.
yeah,
Not in a literal way, but as his way of saying some people bend their standards just to move up. According to him, once that choice is made, everything gets easier. You stay quiet, play along, and keep the machine running. Katt even suggested that Kevin played a role in keeping that system alive, saying Kevin himself has perpetuated this and protected evil people allegedly. That's a serious claim, and it adds another layer to what he's been hinting at. He also pointed to situations where actors get pushed into things they're not fully comfortable with, like wearing certain outfits for roles. And he noted that Kevin Hart did agree to that at one point, which only added more questions to the whole situation. Katt claims there's a clear split. Some people say no and stay stuck right where they are, while others say yes, and suddenly everything takes off. In his eyes, that kind of jump isn't random at all. He's suggesting there's a pattern, something deeper going on that people don't openly talk about. At the same time, he believes certain individuals didn't take the long road. They took a shortcut, and that's where things start to feel questionable. What really makes Katt's claims hit harder is that other voices have stepped in, backing parts of what he's been saying. One name that stood out is Orlando Brown. According to Orlando, none of this surprised him. He started by pointing out that a lot of people in comedy don't respect the craft the way they should. But then he shifted the conversation in a serious way. He said he personally sat in a room with Katt, inside his own house, and heard him speak openly about what really happens behind closed doors. From Orlando's point of view, when someone like Katt, who has real respect in comedy, starts speaking out like this, there's usually something behind it. He hinted that beneath all the laughs, fame, and success, there are real tensions in the comedy world. Quiet rivalries, old issues, built-up frustration, things most people never get to see. And according to Orlando, it sounds like that moment where everything starts coming out might finally be here. He even suggested that Katt has quietly helped a lot of people in the industry behind the scenes without ever asking for credit. And to him, that made Katt's words hit even harder. Like this isn't just talk. It's coming from someone who's been deeply involved. Now he also pushed back on the idea that Katt was just being emotional or reacting in the moment. Instead, he made it clear. Maybe Katt knows more than he's actually saying. Maybe there are details he's holding back, things that don't get said out loud for a reason. And that's when the tone shifted into something much heavier. Orlando hinted that what goes on behind the scenes isn't nearly as clean as it looks from the outside. He pointed toward pressure, expectations, and tough decisions being made in silence, things most fans never hear about and probably weren't meant to. He didn't spell everything out directly, but the message was still loud and clear. The hints were there, and people picked up on them fast.
For a 5-year period, every single movie that Kevin Hart did was a movie that had been on my desk, that all I had said was, just, can we take some of this step and fetch it out? And then I can do it. Like, it don't need to be overtly homosexual, because I'm not homosexual, right? It doesn't need that to be funny, right? And me saying that and them going, oh yeah, no problem. And then going to give it to this other guy and having him do it just like it was, and acting like I'm a bad person because I keep standing on my standard. But yeah, it's interesting, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, again,
What makes this situation feel even heavier is the idea that Kevin may have drifted away from what he once stood for and where he came from. According to the story being told, once the big money started rolling in, his moves began to shift, like he was answering to people behind the scenes. It's said that Monique was one of the voices putting this out there, telling others what she believed was really happening. And once that started spreading, more people began digging deeper. Suddenly, Kevin Hart's image, the clean, funny, hardworking guy, started getting questioned. For years, he was seen as the safe face of comedy, the one who stayed out of drama. But now, that picture wasn't looking so solid anymore. Then a former insider, Gene Deal, stepped into the conversation. And what he hinted at had people seriously shaken. He spoke about private industry parties, the kind most fans never see, and suggested that some very troubling things happen behind those closed doors. Now, the way people look at Hollywood and the powerful figures at the top is being questioned more than ever, and the shine around it all isn't hitting the same anymore. One of the biggest scandals tied to Kevin hit in 2017, and it caught a lot of people off guard. Out of nowhere, he posted a video online looking serious and clearly shaken, admitting he made a bad decision. He didn't reveal every detail right away, but he made one thing clear. He had put himself in a situation that hurt his wife, Iniku Parrish, who was pregnant at the time. He said he had already apologized to his family and took full responsibility for what happened, but that was just the beginning of the story. Soon after, reports started coming out, claiming that someone had a video of Kevin with another woman, and they were allegedly trying to use it to get money from him instead of keeping it private. Kevin decided to get ahead of it. He made it known he wasn't going to let anyone profit off his mistake, so he chose to speak publicly before things spiraled even further. And that's when everything exploded into headlines. The woman involved, Montia Sabag, later spoke out and pushed back on those claims. She said she wasn't trying to extort anyone and insisted she had nothing to do with any recording being made. That only added more confusion and kept the whole situation under a spotlight. Eventually, authorities stepped in and things got even more serious. The situation led to charges against someone who was once close to Kevin, a former friend named Jonathan Todd Jackson. He was accused of trying to extort Kevin by threatening to release that footage, turning a private mistake into a full-blown legal situation. But what really caught people's attention is that Kevin had already said something earlier that now feels almost too accurate. In a past interview, he talked about how risky cheating is in today's world because of social media. He said there's no hiding anymore, no escaping it, and that one mistake can ruin everything.
I'm on the winning side of these decisions.
Will there ever be another Comic View, Def Comedy Jam? Could that, in today, in 24, 25, 26, could we see that again?
They've already announced it. It's already going. You didn't know? Yeah, Kevin Hart purchased it, so he's now doing Comic View. That happened at the same time that they gave DC Young Fly Hollywood Squares.
Where?
Yeah, because they tell you that there's no gatekeepers, but we keep seeing the same people open the gate. Didn't Kevin open the gate and let Tiffany in? And he now opening it up for, don't such and such open the gate? What do you mean ain't no gatekeepers? There's 100 gates out here.
Looking back, a lot of people felt like he was almost calling it before it even happened. And the controversy didn't stop there. It only kept growing. Some started digging into his past relationships, especially how things began with Iniku Parrish. Fans began noticing that the timeline of their relationship seemed to overlap with his marriage to his first wife, Torrey Hart. Eniku denied any involvement in breaking up a marriage, saying Kevin and Torre were already separated when she entered the picture. But Torre didn't stay quiet. She pushed back and said the timeline being shared publicly didn't match her version of events, adding even more tension to an already messy situation. Then there were the smaller details that kept adding more pressure to the situation. In his own book, Kevin admitted that cheating wasn't something new in his life. He shared that during his relationship with his first wife, Torre Hart, things were already complicated and tense from early on. Arguments would escalate quickly, and instead of fixing what was broken, both sides sometimes ended up seeing other people. Kevin didn't hide from it. He admitted that even after getting married, he kept making poor decisions. He described living a double life, acting one way in public while doing something completely different behind closed doors. And at one point, everything spiraled when one of the women he was involved with exposed the situation, which ultimately led to the breakdown of his marriage. There was even a moment he opened up about where Torre caught him with another woman. That situation turned intense fast. Emotions ran high, and it became one of the lowest points in his life. And Torre didn't ignore it or brush it aside, which made the fallout even more serious. Even with everything already out in the open, the conversation around Kevin didn't slow down. It actually got louder. People started connecting different moments from his past, trying to piece together a bigger picture that didn't seem so simple anymore. Some began pointing out that Kevin's career kept rising no matter what controversy came his way. Big movies, major deals, constant spotlight, it was like nothing could really knock him off track. And to some observers, that raised eyebrows. They started asking how someone could go through so many public issues and still stay at the very top. Others, though, saw it differently. They argued that Kevin owned up to his mistakes, spoke on them publicly, and kept pushing forward. In their eyes, that's what allowed him to maintain his position, being open, taking accountability, and continuing to work. Still, the divide in opinions only made things more intense. You had one side questioning everything behind the scenes, and another side defending the success as earned and deserved. And with all these perspectives clashing, one thing became clear. The story around Kevin Hart wasn't as straightforward as it once seemed, and people weren't done talking about it anytime soon. His ex-wife later spoke out about how everything made her feel, and it added even more weight to the situation. Knowing what she went through and hearing her side made people look at Kevin very differently. With all the stories, past admissions, and accounts from people who were around him, it started to feel like there might be more to Kevin Hart than just the funny, easygoing image everyone sees on stage. It raised real questions that didn't have simple answers, but the big question still stands. Will any real proof ever fully come to light, or will this all stay in the realm of rumors and speculation? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.